Everyone loves the before and after of a remodel. Sometimes you visualize how that beautiful room is going to turn out, but there tends to be things along the way that you don't expect and things that you wish someone would have told you. I'm Caitlin, the HomeStyle Honey. We're remodeling our 120-year-old farmhouse and we are almost done. And so I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've learned along the way that might help you in your reno journey. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about our project and how we've encountered and dealt with some of those things. The first thing that you should know when you're starting to reno a home is that things always take longer than you expect. And this might be a no duh for you. It might be something that you've heard because this actually is a pretty common concept. And that is so, so true. So when we started our reno, we were told probably like 1 to 2 months, that maybe within the first month we could be laying tile. And so we thought, okay, 2, maybe 3 months, and then our remodel will be done. Well, guess what? We're in month 6. And we're at the point that almost everything is done. We just did our final plumbing and electrical inspection. There are a few things that we're still going to be having done electrical wise in the house that wasn't necessarily related to the big reno that we did, but are still part of the upgrades. So we're waiting on those, a few little fixtures here and there, and then our trim work. A lot of our trim work is done. This is one of you can see some nice trim right here, and this beautiful door is one of the things that we had added. But there are some other pieces that are not done yet. So always expect things to take even longer than you expect and build that time in. Another thing that caused our reno to take longer than we thought was our tile. And this one's really not on the builder. This is on me. I kind of didn't think about lining up the tile guy. Maybe it was a miscommunication where I sort of thought that the builder would have someone, but I don't know. It wasn't fully communicated well. And then I procrastinated doing it. So we weren't able to have the tile start quite as soon as we wanted. And then the tile guy did squeeze us in, but they had one guy doing all of our tile. So we have a gorgeous, fully tiled shower, including the ceiling. And I'll link it to you so you can see like a little preview of what we've done so far right here. And it has gorgeous penny tile, but they underestimated the amount of time that would take. We also then did tile on the flooring in our bathroom, our guest bath, and the scullery and a hallway. Those ones weren't very detail, like tile that required high detail. They're pretty basic, like 12 by 12 or 12 by 24-inch squares. So it all just took longer than we expected, and that then delayed everything else because we hit the point where nothing could be get done until the tile was finished. And during that time was the holidays, and the tile guy went on vacation for 2 weeks. So definitely add more time. The second thing that I wish someone had told me was that you should expect to spend a lot more than you're going to. So, when you're doing a reno, maybe it's a bid, maybe you're just getting build time and materials like we were, but you will go over budget. No one's perfect, so they can't always accurately estimate the time, and like things come up. So we did kind of know this. Like we knew to just have some extra budget set aside. We actually had quite a bit more budget than when we first talked to our builder. So we did add on some things like the French door. So we knew there were going to be extra costs with that. But then, as we've gotten some of our bills, there was one that really surprised me. That was at least double what I thought because we didn't really hardly have any, there weren't any subcontractors. It was really like trim work and doing some siding on the back of the house and some insulation, and some materials were factored into that. So when I got that bill, I was like, oh crap, we're going to run out of money. And so with that, you can handle it and address it by having 10 to 20% of your budget, like an extra 10 to 20% to handle those extra things that come along. Also, like doing some things yourself. So we have done all of the painting ourselves. Painting is really expensive. If you are going to have more than one color, they charge you extra every time you want to change out the sprayer. So in a prior house that I lived in, I bought it while it was mid-construction. It was so I had it built, but I didn't have it built. Like I didn't pick out the plan or the site or anything like that. I got to come in and pick fixtures and finishes for where it was at as in the building process, and I wanted some different colors in the room, and it was gonna be like $500 every time they changed the sprayer. And then if they have to cut in. So I don't like dark ceilings. I wanted white ceilings, but I didn't necessarily want white walls. I wasn't opposed to it, but I really had strong feelings about not wanting brown ceilings or like a tan or a gray ceiling. And there would have been a ton of cutting in. So I ended up doing white ceilings and white walls because it was going to be extra labor and paint and extra charges. So if you can paint yourself, that is one good way that you can add in a lot of savings to yourself. So, depending on how handy you are doing the demo. I have done and will do some finish work. Most of it is our builder in like our living room, though. We have not had our builder work on any of that. So I've done all the trim in there, some with the help of my husband, some by myself. And then our scullery, because we're hitting that point that it's like, oh my gosh, this is we're going to run out of money. We're doing some floating shelves or not floating shelves, but we're doing some open shelving. And I'm going to do that because that's within my skill set. And it's going to be really similar to the shelves that I did in our upstairs. You can see them in this video. And then even like our closet system, like we bought a prefab closet system, but a nicer one than what you would get at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's or Menards or anything like that. But to make sure we hit the studs, like I just wasn't as comfortable doing it myself because I could tell things were going to line up on the stud. So I just deferred to the builder. But I put together the drawers and like put together the frame there's like a tower in there. In here, I'll show you. So the closet here, I put together the frame of the tower and put some of the hardware on to save us a little bit of time and money because that probably would have taken an extra 3 to 4 hours of the builder. And depending on what their hourly rate is, that's an extra $500 to $1,000. And all of that adds up. So same thing like mirrors, I will be hanging the mirrors. So that time is a big one. The next one that you don't always think of, you see it on an HGTV show, is that you will have to make compromises. And this also kind of ties into that budget and the timeline. So for us, like I chose to have the compromise of having a less expensive vanity. Our vanities were like $500 each roughly from Wayfair. They're not a solid wood. I think they're a plywood. And I think parts of it have some solid wood, but it's like more of like a plywood base and maybe some MDF. And I like them. I thought they turned out great. Do I love them? No. Are we going to have them for 20 years? No. So I was totally fine knowing that we're picking something cheaper because we're going to change them out. And vanities are something that go on afterwards. It's not structural. So it's really easy to change that. Same thing, the hardware on the sink. I opted to just get the Delta faucets from Home Depot rather than the ones that came through the plumber because we're going to change out the vanities. Even if we kept the vanities, hardware on a sink is really easy to change out. It is something that you can probably YouTube yourself. Otherwise, it's the labor of the plumber and the hardware. You're not demoing or getting into a wall or anything. So I just went with something because we needed something quick and I didn't realize the hardware didn't come with the sink or I forgot to order it, something like that. So we had to do that. Same thing with the compromises. My husband's closet, we thought was going to be bigger originally. And like he has a professional job. So he has clothing associated with, needing to wear a suit or nice clothing. Plus, just regular clothes and homestead stuff. So he's actually not the kind of guy that needs like this much closet space. And so we thought we were going to have a bigger closet, but just with the requirements to have then have the water closet for the toilet and then have the right size shower for the guest bath, it pushed that spacing. So you will have to make compromises. Along those lines, the next thing, number 4 would be know your non-negotiables. So we made compromises on certain things because there were other things that were important. So we have a beautiful bathtub. I'm thrilled with it. I'm going to show it to you. So our bathtub was only like $500 or $600 on Home Depot, and it's acrylic. So it's not cast iron, and it is a nice soaking tub. But I opted to not do something like a clawfoot cast iron tub or a higher end acrylic tub because the tile in the bathroom in the shower was really important to us, and we wanted a really beautiful tile job. and that was gonna cost a lot more, and so that was, like, we went more expensive tile work, less expensive tub and vanities. We also went less expensive tile. So we picked subway tile for the walls and the ceiling of our bathroom. It was about $2 a square foot. You actually can get it less through Home Depot, but we went through a local flooring store and they gave us a good deal on some other tile. So I know that that price probably, that savings more than equaled out for us. And it's nice to support local. So our subway tile is about $2 a square foot. It's like a dollar 20 a square foot from like a Home Depot or a Lowe's. And I love subway tile. I like kind of a French bistro vibe. And that's what we're going for in this bathroom. And so it totally fits with that, but it's also really timeless. It's white with black grout. So you're not going to go, oh, that's an early 2000s look, or oh, that's a 90s look, which you can do with homes. So if anything, people would be like, oh, that's like a 1920s look or a 1940s look, but because it's vintage, that makes it a little bit more timeless. And we did penny tile. There was a lot of labor involved in the design of our penny tile. The penny tile itself was not that expensive. So those things the labor was more for that, but totally worth it to us. We also put in heated flooring because again, like we're not going to rip out tile and go put heated flooring in later. And that was a priority. Also, like we have with our shower, like the really nice shower was a priority. And we've got jets that like our body spray jets. And same thing, like we're not going to rip out the tile in 5 years and get into like have to basically gut the shower to then put that in. So it was one of those things that was important to my husband, less important to me, but he was like, well, I don't have to have it like right now. Like we could do it later, especially if it's really only something I wanted. And I was like, no, we're doing this now because we're not going to rip out that tile later. And that was like one of the few things he was asking for in the bathroom. So it's like, we're going to do it early because that is important. Same thing. We both really wanted the heated flooring. And actually, heated flooring's not that much, really. The prices come down a lot. I think our bid for it to add that with the tile work was like only $1,200. So we added that. And then, like, for me, I wanted the really nice bathtub. So, but I didn't need an expensive one. So, we picked and chose on there what was important to us. In our guest bath, picked a kind of expensive sink because that was important. We went with a prefab shower insert. So you've got to make those compromises. Item number 5 that I wish someone had told us is you're going to have to push back against what your professional, construction professionals tell you if you really want something, especially if you want something out of the box. My experience is that the plumbers, especially, and like the builders, they know how to a certain way. They're used to doing it a certain way. There are things that are more common. There's lots of homes being built and apartments and things like that. So there's like a builder grade way to do it. And when you want to go outside the box, that might be more hassle for them and they're not excited about it and they might try to talk you out of it. One point was I got talked out of a pedestal sink in the guest bath. And actually, first I wanted a cast iron wall mount sink, and my builder talked me out of it, saying, that's harder to install. It's really heavy. I wouldn't do that. And so then I had brought up wanting to do a pedestal sink, and like the 3 plumbers and the builder all were like, "Oh no, don't do those. They're terrible. They don't, they adjust and shift." But at the end of the day, like it's your home. Do what you want. So I decided to not do that. But then I decided to go back to the cast iron sink, and I just had to kind of push for it. Same thing, we put arches in our hallway. Still not done. That's one of the pieces we're waiting for. The builder was not thrilled about it, and that's probably why they're not done. And, I had to just like ask about it a couple times because that was important to me. Same thing, I put in these really cool bifold doors into our hallway. Or they're not bifold doors, but 2 doors. And the builder had suggested like, oh, don't get bifold doors. They don't hold up very well on the tracks. And so I ordered the doors that I wanted. They were bifold, but I was like, we're not doing a bifold. We're going to do hinges. And, I'm going to get some cool hardware for them. So I had to like ask for it because otherwise I probably would have gotten just a regular door. Same thing with these French doors. I was highly encouraged to get like faux ones where the hinges are down the middle. There was a house I lived in that had those and I hated it. Instead of having like the door in the middle, it was on like the side, the door handle. And like only one side open and you didn't get that like what I was wanting was like you open the French door and it's like it's ta-da! And you get to like step out onto your beautiful patio, and I wasn't going to get that effect. And so I had to push for that as well. I'm not trying to like knock my builder. He's been great. But when you want something outside the box, you do have to push for it more. And I think that's really important to know, especially if you want unconventional things or anything like that. The next thing is you need to plan ahead more than you think on some things. So we've hit the point we should have planned ahead for medicine cabinets because now it would be a big hassle to cut into the drywall. So we've decided to not do medicine cabinets. I actually ordered some. We're sending them back. Like they wouldn't hit studs. So then we have to figure out something else to like get them so they're not just anchored into the drywall. And ultimately, if we planned ahead, we could have probably had it framed in for medicine cabinets. That would have been a better option for us, but we're just going to roll with it and do something different. Also, on that planning ahead, like any other specialty things, like say you want specialty doors, they might need to frame separately for those. So you just want to like plan ahead if you're going to use anything vintage or unusual or things that are going to have like built-in options. Like we didn't really do anything where there are like cubbies built into the studs. A lot of it was just decision fatigue, and it was like, oh, I guess we don't need that, or I don't want that. And now I'm kind of having some little regrets that we didn't do it, but it's too late now. And so if we planned ahead better, we could have done some of those things. The final thing I would say is expect the unexpected. So when you are building a home, there will be things that come up that you don't expect. And sometimes they're not that big of a deal, and sometimes they're really expensive. So for us, one of the things was when we opened up, we had a big wall between our kitchen and our living room. We opened it up, and that wall had a big HVAC air duct, like the big trunk of it, running right through the area that was going to be opened up to our daughter's room. So we ended up having to decide to just like pull that out because it was going to mess with the flow and the feel of the room, which then that took out the heat source to our daughter's room. So we ended up having to we were going to do a inserted wall heater, but because the house is old, there's vermiculite as the insulation. Vermiculite tends to have asbestos in it. So we ended up having to surface mount it. It's kind of ugly. Same thing with when we added some outlets to our upstairs. So we had to surface mount them. They're kind of ugly. And so like I'm going to like build a little box to go around the outlet just to kind of camouflage it. So some stuff will come up like that. If you ever watch like HGTV shows, there are shows where there's big things that happen like rot or mildew or, proper structure. We were blessed that was not our case, but the unexpected will happen. And that's also why you want that extra time and that extra budget to account for those. So when all is said and done, when your renovation is complete and you see that beautiful space that you've been imagining come together, it can be really rewarding, especially if you've been, Pinteresting ideas and looking at magazines and books to get those. And it's really worth it. Watching that space come together to become something you truly love is absolutely worth it, even through the headaches and challenges, although it might not always feel that way. So friends, tell me, if you have renovated, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've heard? Tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. And be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and give us the thumbs up. We're about to be posting before and afters, so subscribe. That way you get notified of them first. And be sure to check the comment section or the description of this video for my pantry guide and my kombucha guide. That is where I am sharing how to make your own delicious, gut-friendly kombucha at home in just minutes a week. And you can also learn how to stock your pantry with all the best essentials. So that way, when it's dinner time and you're going, oh my gosh, what's for dinner? You've got the right things on hand to cook simple and nutritious dinners. Plus, you're going to get some great recipe and food ideas.